Welcome everyone. Trying something new with Griff, who's back on my little show. So welcome Griff. But we are trialing a Substack recording because it's free and easy. So we're very small down the bottom right of your screen or bottom left of your
We're not
screen.
really that small.
No, we're definitely not that small. But unfortunately, if you are someone that likes to look at punters and dribblers' faces, then you're going to miss out on this one because we're very small down the bottom. But the purpose of the video, luckily, is to actually look at some teams. So maybe it's serendipitous that we're not front and center, and we'll be bringing up some of the teams. So the idea here, which you guys would have seen on Substack and the Discord, was that there's just some people out there struggling due to the change in overall landscape, which we will touch on first. And we've asked for people to submit some teams, and I've set Griff to task because he's a mastermind when it comes to draft, and I want to hear what he would do in these positions, and I'll just play off the back of that. But we thought there's a couple of things. There's the teams within their own league context, which people have submitted, i.e., how many teams are in that league. Some people have mentioned the trading culture of the league, or captains, no captains. That's the league context. But there's the bigger context, which is the NRL has changed this year, and as a result, unfortunately, our game has changed quite a bit, which has led some people to have drafted one way, such as myself, more base heavy, aligned with what we thought would happen and kind of where the game was last year, to a really high powered, massive upside kind of format. And that's led to some people feeling pretty frustrated because they're probably pretty competitive and did a lot of preparation. It's actually really benefited people who didn't prep, that just drafted off name value. Herbie, Latrell, they probably took them first 12 picks, which I never would with the CT dub, and now those guys are hammering the value back, and I think that's led to a lot of frustration. So we're here today just to chat that out. Griff is someone who has mentioned that he's sort of always gone for the upside, whereas I like to kind of try and find that balance, and I'm really risk averse, generally speaking, when putting a team together. So it should be a good balanced set of opinions. But overall landscape, Griff, I have touched on it, but tell me about briefly sort of how you prepared for the season when you found out there was a statistics change that would lead to probably less try assists going to halves and more tackles being counted across the board. What you didn't know the 6 again rule would be the way it was. So how did you end up drafting it, and what's your take on the overall landscape for everyone listening?
Well, first of all, it was panic.
Yeah.
Once they decided to change the stats provider and the interpretations of the assists and whatnot. I feel like they had it right the way that they were already doing the assists. It only needed to be tweaked to the new stat providers things, with obviously attention to getting the updates out quicker and all that sort of stuff, which we've been crying out for that for a long time anyway. But I panicked, and then I reevaluated, and then I watched the trials, and then I think it was because I think I was third pick in my home draft, and obviously the consensus at that time was Walsh, Cleary, and Teddy, and then obviously when this came out, it was like, well, do you go Payne Haas number one? Do you go Terrell May? Do you go Herbie Farnworth and all that sort of stuff? So that was sort of spooking a few people as well. So I didn't really know what was going to happen. So eventually I just decided, I think before we actually got to the draft, was just like, you know what, just however it becomes during the season, then it is what it is. So just go with what you think is right. So in saying that, Reece Walsh went 1, Cleary went 2, so I ended up going Teddy at 3. So would I have preferred Teddy in the old format? Yeah, for sure, 100%, because I already believe that he's already like almost 10 points down on his average if you actually compare the both, because Fox Sports obviously still doing their try assist stats, but we just don't get to see it anymore as often, I guess. But yeah, like I think we all just assumed that base stats were going up, hookers would be more relevant, all that sort of thing, and it's just hasn't been the case. Obviously that's a lot to do with the 6 again interpretation and all that sort of stuff as well, but it's it sort of feels like last year still anyway, but just without the front row uptick, I guess. You know what I mean? The front rows have come back to earth a little bit. Like the Tarpanés and that they're not punching out 70s, 80s anymore. They still can, obviously, on
Yeah.
their day, and same with Fanil Blake and all that sort of stuff as well. Okay, Payne Haas, Terrell May, they're still outliers. They're always going to be outliers, but they were outliers even in the game previous to the stat changes anyway. So it's just it's changed, but it hasn't. There's supposedly a lot more, CTW, or sorry, in particular centers that were going to get a big uptick, because obviously they more or less get the last pass and whatnot. But I don't know, they probably all are up a little bit, but they're probably not up as much as we all expected them to be.
No, and on just to just touch on a few things you mentioned, we did expect base to come up and different players to become more relevant, and in a way, the scoring of differences has been applied, and we have seen guys emerge. But what's happened on the field is that the ball's going to the edges with more momentum in the middle, and therefore edge players are just getting generally more attack. NRL scoring itself is actually up 10%. It feels like more when you look at last weekend, and from Friday Arvo, the Friday Arvo game, to Sunday's games, there wasn't a score beneath 20 put on by a team except the 12 to maybe the Cowboys or whatever. So everyone else scored above 20, many teams in the 30s. Just kind of a purist of me, I think that's disgusting. I like a 24-12 game, not a 38-34 game, generally speaking.
I generally am the same, but at the same time, it's sort of a trade-off, because obviously in a higher scoring game, there's more opportunity for your players to score more fantasy points. So it's, I know from a purist point of view, I totally agree. I remember the old Manly versus Roosters back in 2013, 4-2. What a game. What a game. You know what I mean? Like an absolute cracker of a game. But but if we were all playing Supercoach for that game, we would have been disappointed.
To a degree, but not me, who drafted according to the fact that base, because I didn't know the ball in play would change, right? Like the way the ball was the way momentum, I should say, was manifesting. So what I'm saying is the way it's actually manifesting is that back rowers are getting these 3 to 8 more tackles counted as they third man in. So their base is lifting, but then there's all this scoring on the edges, and we're seeing elite back rowers like your Hylam Lukey's now, these type of guys where they're able to base and score in both ways. And the ball, someone like Lindsay Smith, his minutes have been a bit down, but he's unable to accumulate enough tackles and runs because there's so much try scoring. And the part of try scoring as well is time under the posts. There's goal kicks, there's the walk back, all this time where blokes just aren't making tackles and runs. So it's been pretty interesting, but scoring's up 10%. And, my league average last year, I was posted in the Discord today, was 682 points. Right, was my league average. And I think I averaged far above that, and I took it out and only lost 2 games. It was a great season, blah, blah, blah. But now my league average is 763. So it's nearly 100 points more per week for the same roster count in a captain's league. And obviously I did mention to the when I posted it for everyone to read, that obviously you've got Nico, Teddy, and Trell all have scored more than 140 as captains in my league, which inflates everything by quite a bit. That's 800 points kind of thing across the board. So just being fair dinkum that has happened. But what we need to not realize is that the stats and the decisions we made according to what we knew before, on draft day for many people, was actually logical. Look at Isaiah Katoa. He's borderline irrelevant right now. Last year he was terrific because he was getting 3 try assists a game. Now those are going to Jake Avarillo, Herbie, all the rest of it, Funafuiaki, all the rest of it getting all these stats. He's actually gone through the arse like we predicted. The difference with Nico and with Nath is they have decent base, and they're all over it in terms of still getting try assists, line break assists, and they run and they kick goals. So their floor is higher, and then they're getting in they've got in more juggernaut offensive teams, so they're still capping out. But it's going to get crazy with guys like Teddy and Herbie and stuff that are going to really keep putting in some big 120s, Suafa'alongo, all the rest of it. So it's been challenging, I think, for people that prepared really hard. You serendipitously, and to your own credit, took Teddy at 3, but I'm in a league. I took Payne at 2, I think it was, thinking that I saw enough from him in a game mode that had less base being attributed in terms of tackle count. Now I'm going to get more of that on top of what he can do running the ball. Obviously, his journey has been injury marred, so we can't really report on the quality of that pick, just like people who took Walshy.
Yeah.
You know, it's like they've busted as a result of like their health, not as a result really of them getting a fair crack to be who they could be. So it's a hard one to judge. But you know, I've made mistakes like Jerome Hughes. I didn't fade him at an overall level beyond what made sense, but I just couldn't draft him on his injury history and thinking he'd lose assists. But he's been pretty good, right? For owners, a couple of hundreds and a 90. Like it's been fair dinkum.
Yeah.
I didn't take him for different reasons, but he's been a guy that we thought would get really impacted by the changes and the loss of Eli Katoa, and he's still pumping in good scores for where you would have paid for him. Guys like Latrell, I faded on health, and even Carraz a little bit, and the Carraz parts kind of come through. But then look at Latrell, like top guy right now, and by a long way. And so I'm sat here with egg on my face. But I mean, it is a long season. I'll just see how he goes. So
yeah, we're only at the start still.
Yeah, you know. So good to touch on the landscape. There's not much more to say other than no one knew this would sort of be the case. But in 2021, we sort of saw it get at its worst point in Magic Round, and then it kind of normalized a bit. Do you have a quick gut feel for us on whether you think things will tighten up, or is this the new normal?
Oh, I think this is the new normal. Honestly, I would probably one of my biggest takes from pre-draft was, and like after, you know, analyzing what the stats were going to do and all that sort of stuff, I actually thought it would be the no longer, you know, a 150 plus and all that sort of stuff. I thought that would come down, but the base would come up and it'd sort of sandwich into the middle.
Yeah, right.
But obviously not realizing that the 6 again rule had changed again.
Yeah.
And you know, if I guess if we all really thought about it, we only had to go back to 2021 to see what happened with that type of 6 again rule.
We just didn't know that. We knew the areas of the field would increase. We didn't know the refs would get a mandate to crack down further with it. That's the difference, right?
Yeah.
And to 100%. Be fair, I didn't draft no ceiling. I drafted valuing base. That's probably the difference. Because tries and try assists still counted. So what we did was we went centers, they get a boon, right? To a degree. Mm-hmm. I didn't go crazy on them, but it was more about like Paddy Carrigan, who's actually been awesome, but Payne, Tino. Again, Tino's not even in scope because his coach changed everything and his form. But in terms of what he could do, we don't know. And like Lindsay Smith, and even like, you know, you might have valued like an Aaron Clark, and they're just the ball's moving and going in different areas, and they're not getting those reps. So it's a real tough one to analyze.
There's another issue that we probably all haven't thought about either, and that's the 6-man bench.
Yeah. Because
coaches, what they're doing now is, this is the only thing I can take away from what I've seen so far. Is they're not rushing all their interchanges because they don't know at what time of the game somebody could go down injured, right? So they're trying to be more strategic and like we've seen it in the South Bulldogs game where they thought that Stephen Crichton was going to come back on. So they chucked Sean O'Sullivan out there and then realised, well, they can't pick Jerry to come on now. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so the thing is they're leaving the sort of the backups, I guess, out there a lot longer. So this is why the Lindsay Smiths and the Tinos and want it down, because they don't know whether to make that fourth change yet.
Yeah, gotcha.
So
I haven't noticed that. Yeah.
Nice. So they haven't realised, you know, should I just be putting another big bopper out there or just getting Tino back out there or whatever? And yeah, because I mean, like you look at Penrith, they're not even running an actual front rower on their bench. They're all back rowers. Okay, granted, you know, the likes of IPAP, Sorensen, and even Lee Martin, they can all go into the middle and do a job, right?
Yeah.
But the fact that they're playing the Billy Phillips and whatnot with it, it's just like I don't really understand it. They're not actually playing any props really, besides Lindsay Smith and Leota. So you would think, okay, Leota and Lindsay Smith must be eaten, but they're not. You know what I mean? Because they're just I don't know. Well, there's other things with the Titans that I can't put my finger on either. You know what I mean? They've got Bye out there and and whatnot. And then you see teams that are sharing the hooker role. So like Verrills and Pascoe. So you think, oh, well, that should be even more time for Tino again, but it's just not.
Yeah.
So
yeah, interesting. Look, I think it's a combination of three things. Just to summarize this before we move on to the teams, it's one that the momentum and the ball in play and the fatigue means that there's a lot of scoring.
Momentum is the biggest key.
And there's not enough middle grapples, like grindy set after set play that we saw last year where middles rack up points. The minutes are a little bit down in relation to your bench thing, which is totally a great call out. And then the third one is, as a result of scoring and stuff, the downstream effect is that the guys that when they are on, they're not getting through the work. It's like all three things stacking. But good one on the bench one. I think that's, and then the fourth one is the trend to generally smaller mobile middles that can kind of, they're not these defensive guys have gotten so good, mate.
Yeah.
That back in the day, you couldn't run Curtis Morin in the middle because he'd get flattened.
100%.
Now,
well, even last year, last year, that's what we were saying. Like it's the return of the big boppers. You know what I mean? Like they were coming relevant again, and now they've just squashed them again like that quickly.
Yeah, they were coming relevant because blokes were so talented they could play for 70 minutes. That's the thing for me. It wasn't so much purely on their physique.
No, it's definitely fitness as well. 100%.
What we're now seeing is Curtis Morin is so, for example, like technically good enough that he can punch above his weight defensively. Therefore, you get the benefit of him physically being like Kurt Mann. This Bulldogs, this Penrith thing of like, you don't have to be massive. You have to be skilled and talented enough to like hold your own
and defensively
as a size. Yeah, it's surprising that even like someone like Corey Jensen has sustained his role as someone who ticks neither here nor there, but he's lucky he's super fit. But he doesn't like roll over guys, and he's not super mobile. He's not a ball player either, but he's luckily been, fit enough and he does a job there. But hey, let's move on because we've done landscape for 15 minutes, which I'm not mad about overall. So I did want to talk about it, and it's relevant. So I'll just move on. Team one it's Birdie. I've seen Birdie in the chat of our Discord looking for some advice and stuff. Just as a summary, he's down there in a massive 14-team league, which is beyond anything I've played in. I sympathize with him. It'd be super brutal. Captain's league, I don't know where he picked exactly. That's probably irrelevant by this point in the season anyway. He's there with 2 wins, 5 losses, 2 and 3 in his last. So he's got his wins in the more recent side of things, which is good for him. I'm not sure what your thoughts are on Birdie's team, but he had to captain Preston on the weekend, which would have been frustrating. That 2RF is awesome. The front row will be good with King back. He's got Walker there, who's coming into form. He's got like Taylor, who's a ticking time bomb with that injury, but looks amazing out there. Timoko, that's Kinney, he's been unlucky, like myself as a Kinney owner, hasn't quite sort of been too red hot, but hasn't been super bad either, all things considered. He was sort of tracking alongside Teddy to a degree there, and then Tupou and whatnot. So give me your thoughts on Birdie. He does actually, before I let you run, I'll just quickly jump on some of his like the high level stuff, like TPR. He's in the top 10 for a 14-man league. That's not too bad, but it's all really tight there from the guys, like from the 64 to the guy there beneath him on 40 as a TPR value here. That's all pretty tight, which isn't great. He doesn't have a lot of like crazy movement in the luck area. The strength of schedule has been neutral. True skill is not where he wants it to be. The issue that stands out for me is his true skill's second lowest. Even the guys beneath him in TPR have a higher true skill, which is a bit of a red flag for Birdie. Also the least consistent team. So he's obviously benefited from like the Kinney hitting some upside. Now Walker's hit some upside. Yeah, he's got a very volatile team. Now we've spoken about a bit of his context. I will let you discuss what your thoughts are on Birdie's team and where he could go from here, trade options, areas you'd explore, or guys you'd stay the faith with. Like let Birdie have it, mate.
Yeah, well, first of all, I thought 14-team league. I thought it was a pretty decent squad, to be fair.
Good point.
He's got Pezzett and Starling at hooker and 5'8". I mean, they're the 2 worst positions. Like you got to, if you were going to fade somewhere in the draft, they were probably the 2 positions that
couldn't agree more. Well said.
So that's fair enough. I think obviously he's got like Murray Talangi, Addo Carr on his bench as well. So okay, you can figure he's got Sloan on there. Obviously, you'd be putting in Murray or Addo Carr in for him most weeks. I mean, obviously with buys and whatnot, but Sam Walker, yeah, I mean, he's just got unlucky with him as well. Kinney obviously in and out. Front row, look, it's almost coming back to the who gives a crap where your front row is as well. So, like, to me, if my front row is Nafahu, White, and Max King, I'm happy with that. I know Tamalolo is showing me that he scored better than Nafahu, but that's what you get. Obviously, he's got McInnes got named this week as well. Not that he ever makes his side.
He doesn't. Yeah.
So but like that back row is sensational.
It's awesome.
And obviously that's where a lot of points have been coming this year as well. Look, if you're going to talk about trading though, there's a reason why he's only had the 2 wins out of the 7, but probably because of most of that luck factor as well. But if you're going to strengthen, 5'8" and hook is probably not where you need to be even thinking about.
Yeah, agreed.
So, could you upgrade a centre to, to me, Carraz is gettable. I know we don't know how long he's out for at the moment, but that sort of caliber player would really change the outlook of this team, I think. Front row, as I said, it's not really somewhere where I'd be strengthening, but if I could, pick up an AFB or something like that, maybe. It's a real tough one, but you have to think that running a 5'8" or running a hook is not where it's going to make much of a difference for you anyway, because people that have got good hookers or 5'8s aren't going to part with them anyway, really.
Yeah, agreed.
So it's just whether or not, if you really wanted to shake things up, if you really, really needed to shake things up, you probably had last week's window with Kinney to really cash in, but it's hard because even some of the fullbacks that I would be willing to downgrade to probably I'm talking Iyongi, Jai Great. They're injured.
Yeah, I know.
You know what
and
I mean?
He's
So exactly.
2-5, so
you can't afford it. You have to be able to be winning now, and then obviously Kinney's off this week, so that's not gonna help things.
No.
And then you go.
Yeah. Agree with your thoughts generally. I think your positivity and risk profile I appreciate because it counters mine, and you nailed it. At this juncture of the season with his team, what I see here, and you'll agree with me, is he has surplus front rowers, right? Because the difference between King getting him 55, White getting him 55, and Taumalolo getting 45, it's negligible on the weekend when really your win will be decided by who you captain and whether Kinney, Walker, or bloody Taylor May hit some upside. Love Talangi on the bench. That's coming in. Adokar is a matchup play. What I would be doing if I was him, this is probably the takeaway, is selling high on Taylor May, even in a gun team. Pray he goes nutso this weekend, right?
Yeah.
If he goes nutso this weekend, you package him and King or him and White or him and Taumalolo, and you just upgrade that spot and you just chase a bit of upside to some degree.
100%.
I think wouldn't. I look at a team like this that's struggling and go, all right, you need wins now. You need wins through Origin. I'd be doing something silly like Taylor May for Jake Averillo. Averillo's braining it. He's in a gun offense that's going to come good, and he plays tons through Origin. You go, I'm losing at Taylor May for Averillo. You think there's no way Averillo's never been really relevant. The difference is, 1, he is relevant. 2, he's benefiting with his foot speed in this team. Plays outside one of the better ball-playing halfbacks. Finafiliaki sucks in 2 defenders every run he runs, and you can bank wins during Origin in theory, right? Taylor May, as good as he looks, great team. That shoulder subluxation, I've never seen a bloke not come down with it again once getting it. Ola Kawatu last year, Dylan Lucas when he had it, Cleary when he had it in 2023 or whatever it was, 2022 maybe it was.
Yeah.
He had the subluxation. Guys, when they get it, they rarely, if they're a power player, avoid it popping back. I think the times we've seen it not go again, Turbos went again once, is if they're like a halfback that can just avoid tackling, like Cleary does when he strapped it real hard.
Or Alex Johnson or somebody like that.
Yeah, and even then he's try scoring, it's just as much of a risk as it is like getting tackled. So I would be getting off Taylor May quick smart and looking to get a guy that doesn't have that pedigree name like a Navarillo. I just think in Origin for this bloke, we're nearly there. If he could maybe win 2 of 3 games during that period, 4 of 5 games because he just has an upside flyer in that period. That's just a recommendation. If it's not a 1-for-1 and you do a 2-for-1, you need to get a bit better than Avarillo. If you do a Kingy, say, and I said this to you, and I say this, I've been trying to say this to people, is some blokes have more value the week before they come back than they'll ever have, because nothing gets a punter more buzz than the idea of someone. All right.
100%.
Sometimes the 150 of Kinney is like less valuable than, oi, Kinney's back next week. Do you want him, and get off your shitty Jai Gray?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like the
100%.
thought of a guy, people who play fantasy usually punt, like I don't, but people do, and they love it's the risk, the thrill of what could be. So I would be saying King's back next week, mate. I'd love to throw Taylor May and Kingy out you for ABC, whatever it is. Again, use the Draft Oracle League map, see who's a buy low, use the tools at your disposal, Birdie. But yeah, you've got some interesting stuff. The question I'd be having is, if you play VC loop stuff, I'd be trying to like play around with like the KPP, like Yo, Preston backline with the Kinney VCs when applicable. Problem is, I drafted Kinney because he plays on Sunday. I like it, but I like watching it, but he's not good for the VC of his upside, which is really frustrating. You could downgrade, like you say, go Kinney to Iongi if you can survive a week without a fullback. But again, you need wins now, so that doesn't even work. It's a tough spot.
It's definitely tough.
I'd be going matchup play captains between Preston and Kai Pearce-Paul, as you've done here, just hoping that those back rowers, if you look at my matchup summaries, not to like plug the stuff too hard, but guns and elite matchups on right to RFs or something is like the most high percent delivery of like actual like correlation. Like if I say an edge back row on the right has a gun matchup or elite matchup, they're returning at like 60% accuracy, which is really high in a game of such volatility as Supercoach. So for this bloke, with these two guys here, I'd be picking the weaker team they're playing each week, captaining him, hope for the best, mate. Just hope they do better than what they did this weekend, which is frustrating. Preston had a HIA, still had a line break, blah, blah, blah. But good luck, Birdie. I think we've touched on a couple of things. I know it's not a perfect science because you're in a 14 team alike. And Griff nailed it. It's actually a good team in a 14 team league.
Yeah, it looks fine on the eyes. You know what I mean? Like that's what I really judge teams by the eye test, right? But,
and he's probably gone Kinney into Walker into Yo, right? First 3 picks or something like
100%.
that. And they just, Kinney and Walker have just cooked him for the first 5 weeks without going into any high scores. That might change now. They both might have turned the corner. The Roosters run's great.
Walker's definitely on the up.
Walker's always a risk to captain with his little body and his HIAs and just being a smaller bloke, but you could captain him given the matchups they've got as a goal kicker. His floor should be like 40 something, and he's always got a chance of try assists, multiple try assists. So I like the stack of Tupou Walker for the next run. That should get you some wins in theory. Again, decent teammate, just super bad luck. Just keep fighting. How's a bloke 7-0 in a 14 team league? That's
what I was about to say. I was like, I'd love to see the comeback.
This guy's 4-3 with 505,000, 5.5k score, 5.7. So like, that's just bad luck. Like, there's a bit 100%. Of luck here for Birdie, but good luck, mate. We'll move on because we're rolling through. Team 2, Chennai. We've got here from the Oracle that he's down the bottom. The true skills the lowest from what we can see, with a strength of schedule that's good. He could just be flat out in trouble here, Griff. Bot 10 luck-free ladder, like it's just grim for Channa. What's your read on his roster, mate, and what's your general advice there?
Once again, the eye test, it doesn't look that bad. You know what I mean? It honestly, I mean, like, it's just unfortunate with Turbo.
Tino as well.
And Tino, you know what I mean? And look, the first thing that comes to mind is you've got 2 hookers. You have to get rid of one.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? So you have to get, and to be honest, like Cook's probably more valuable. So I'd be shifting Cook. That's the first trade that I'd be making straight off the bat.
I'd package best with it as well to get more, because 100%. I don't want a soft tissue guy at all. Just even though best has upside. You got Fletcher Hunt. That's amazing. You don't need 2 blokes from that team.
Yes. Correct.
Package Cook with best, and CT Dubs a dime a dozen. You can always make a job.
Well, you can do matchup plays. You know what I mean? Whereas okay, so at the moment he's obviously going to be a little bit of an issue with. Oh no, he's got Kennedy, so he's got cover for Turbo. Yep. Love the fact that they're playing the flex. We do the same thing in my 12-team league. And exact same roster. That this is as well. Absolutely love it. Like, to be honest, the flex, like I enjoy it so much. It just makes that extra factor week to week on you know, on what people even do, even at the draft day, right? Because
yeah, it's crazy. Yeah,
like it's not silly to, if someone was lucky enough to get, say, Turbo, they could have, somebody easily in that sort of roster structure could have literally drafted Turbo and Pollard.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that would be a fantastic way to start your draft.
Yeah.
Because obviously
I would never do that. I love how different we are. I hate flex, and I would never touch those two bastards. So I love the difference in us. You're like, what a way to start your draft. People who follow my style would be like, that is suicide. And it is, because look, Turbo's been
100%.
decent. He's now injured. Pong is
Yep.
now was okay and injured. I just wouldn't touch him.
Exactly.
And people laugh at me and go, oh, like in my community league, oh, you took Harry Grant round 2, you're an idiot. Well, the first 2 weeks that looked pretty good. Now it's not looking so good because he's just
I'm forever an optimist.
I love that, mate, because I need that, and I think people need some optimism. But
Yeah.
look, just to bounce off what you've said, I don't love flex stuff, but I don't hate it either. I understand the value of it for people, and I'm not going to ever say like don't play it.
Yeah, well, that's it.
Don't play it.
Yeah, when you like, that's a thing. Like we always usually trial different things, but I think we've hit the sweet spot with our league in doing it that way.
Yeah, you've been around a long time. Yeah,
that's what I mean. We've tried everything, and like we've even we tried no captains when we've actually gone back to captains. But the way that we've done it is we have no VC.
Yep.
So you just have to put your balls on the line. That's it.
Yeah.
So,
we do the same. Yep.
Yeah.
I love the idea of trading the hooker. It's got to be done. And
it has to be done.
While Cook has 100 and Little's injured, Cook will hammer scores in. Your receiving person will think they've dominated the trade because he'll get scores. No coach there. Yeah, get that done. Love that you've got the cooler handcuff for Tommy. Unfortunately, he hasn't slotted to fullback, but you've got Kennedy, who's just finished his bye. The timing couldn't be better. Sharks have Origin round 12, then they run straight through to like round 20 or something. So you just get Will Kennedy, who has a lot of upside in this current meta. If it was last year, you'd hate it. This year, you're like, hell yeah. He'll have games of 100. He'll have games of 50. You can make it work. You got Burton, who's having a really good year after we've seen him have 3 bad years. So you're lucky there. Tuala's done a hammy. You can punt him. That's fine. Jojo Fafita does a job playing outside, one of the best halfbacks in the comp. Jaden Campbell, he'll do a job for you. Captaincy wise, Tino's been a stitch up. One of those guys drafting Tommy into Tino, that's bad luck. But captaincy wise, I'd be doing matchup players on like Dearden. I'd be looking at Yo if you want to play it safe. But the roster on the eye does not match the freaking TPR and the team situation.
I was just about to say the same thing, man. I don't understand it. No, I like a 10-team comp, and especially because that they have gone the flex, so they have diluted the rosters. By not just being a standard 17-man team. But I look at it and go, well, you're happy with Dearden, you're happy with Burton.
Yeah.
You were happy with Turbo up until this week. You know what I mean? Okay, Kate, well, at your flex, not ideal, but you do have Cook, you do have Best, you do.
And I see the logic. Last week I said, Capewell, we've seen him play a game, played 80 minutes, looked good in a good team. I saw the logic in playing him. He was against the Titans. It made total sense on paper. It's just bad luck.
I mean, he's obviously done this roster to be Turbo and Kennedy. You know what I mean? So, like, you're mostly going to play the 2 fullbacks if you've got the flex spot. So
I think this bloke, he needs to sell low on Turbo and get someone that can do a job, mate. I think because, like, look where 100%. He is. Look where he is on the stats we've got there on him, Draft Oracle. If his luck removed ladder position was 10, we know probably his ladder position's probably pretty low. I don't think I've got his ladder. He didn't provide that. What I would be doing is I would be bundling Cook and Best for an upgrade somewhere, CT dub or a fullback like a Jai Gray, get him injured, or Iongi, or I'd do Turbo for Iongi would be the best trade you could ever do, because Iongi will be back. He's a great player. He don't play Origin. He should score pretty well just off this meta. He did it in week 3, I think, maybe week 4. We're at week 8, so he's 2 weeks, max 3-4 weeks away from coming back. Iongi. Yeah. Kennedy will get you there. I'd be getting Iongi if I could. Would you, mate? Think about.
I would, but I would I know we're saying to sell low basically on Turbo, but if I got I'd 100% sell Turbo for Iongi, but I would need another piece. Whether that piece is probably just a front rower, like I'm looking at Tupanua. Obviously, he's volatile in that spot. It wouldn't have to be an amazing front row. Don't get me wrong, but I'm only thinking of like a Max King or something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah,
around that sort of range, I guess. I mean, if you could get Stefano and Iongi or something like that.
Not happening. No.
I don't think it is, but,
yeah.
Stefano
I
has
agree.
come off the boil a lot.
Aim high. No, I agree with you. Aim high if that's available. I just want to be realistic with this bloke. And what you and I forget, because we're not in the situation, is when you need wins, you need the trade
100%.
more than you need the value.
Yeah,
he needs the guy that's going to come in a week or two and give him some potential 100-point games. And honestly, like, dude, there'd be some guys maybe at the top of the table in this comp that have like a Kinney they'd even sell for Turbo off the name, thinking they could hold him. Have that chat, though. On my recommendation, Channy, is have the chat of keep it low pressure and go, mate, you're dominating. You can afford to survive Turbo's injury. Can I have your fullback? If it's Kinney or any guy that can
100%.
score 120, go get him and just cop the L. I don't care if it's Turbo best for Kinney or something to get a better name who's healthy, or not this weekend, obviously, unfortunate to buy, but Kennedy will do your job this weekend, then you roll from there. But the Cook Robson thing, you got to pick one and trade one. Bundle him with this bastard best, or bundle the fullback with best and get yourself some better value and just get blokes on the paddock. Oh, I forgot he's got Fletcher Hunt in fullback. I forgot about that, mate. So I forgot about him. That's going to push you to fullback, then run him in flex, and then you can play Sully. Don't love Sully, though. I'd be looking to get an upgrade with the Cook best combo to get you better CT dub than Sully.
Which means you can just go for a CT dub, basically.
Yeah, go get a CT dub. But I would, though, rather Fletcher Hunt in CT dub in case another guy gets injuries or buys and whatnot.
Yeah, for sure.
It'd be better to have Hunt flipping around and go get yourself an Iongi. But let's move on. Good luck, Chania. Hopefully that helps. Message us on Substack, me on Substack if you need further clarification. Team 3, Johnny, one of the veterans, a big supporter of mine. Griff, he's one of the OG kind of YouTube guys who was always commenting, helping me build up the algorithm. So we love Johnny. Team
Good stuff, Johnny.
12-man league. So another 12-man. Are these you guys running 12-mans? I credit you. Kudos, respect. It's hard enough in a tenner with a big bench like mine. I don't know how you blokes do it. So good on you.
Oh, look, you gradually get there. You start with an 8, you go to 10, you go to 12. Yeah. Every time you think, oh, it's going to be chaos, and then you end up loving players like Marcelo Montoya.
No. No, it's awesome because it does expose you to a real cool group of guys. So he's staring down 2 wins, 1 draw, 4 losses, moderate trading league. So he's just giving us the hint that he could get something happen. So I'll start off this one. Love Ryan Couchman stash. That's good. That shows you've been paying attention to the videos I do. Casey McLean draft. That's off me as well. You guys know I was dying for him. So that's great. Guyman was a great plug and play. Yep. Thank you, Griff. Love it. Terrell May, he's coming good. That's a C on him, mate. He looks epic. Like, I faded him off back injuries and minutes changes. Big mistake. I should have just said gun players are gun players. They may only need 55 minutes. I should have known better. Lesson learned. But he looks unreal out there. The style they play, his fitness, endurance, his skill, it all comes together. And I think he just parked the C on him, and I think you'll see this league turn around. Trey Mooney, bit of an upside guy. You could sell him high for someone better than Trey Mooney.
I totally agree.
I'd be trying to get off Trey Mooney, Johnny, in a positive way. Keep it lighthearted. Do it with Critter or some idiot and go like Critter and Mooney and get yourself just an upgrade there. Maybe a Stefano if you could. I'd be doing that. Keep Iongi. You need Iongi to plug in when Edwards goes off to Origin and rests. That combo is beautiful. If things get real dire, you trade Iongi to get an upgrade somewhere if you need to. Backline is great. When Casey comes in, you've got, White. You've got to be able to do better than White. And maybe don't trade Critter because I didn't see Graham and White, and that's disgusting. Toya, unfortunate on the weekend, looks the part, though. I'd be buying low on him in most leagues if I was to give a recommendation. Unfortunately, you faded halves just like I generally do and did. I ended up trading to get Nico in a roundabout way. That was a case of auction leagues. Yeah. But Brown will be better.
Well, he made the trade, didn't he? This is the one he said he
you're
traded,
right. Sorry, mate. You got the notes.
Yeah, so he traded Howe and someone else for Brown and Iongi. I can't remember who the other one was.
Oh, well, then I didn't see that, so I can't remember that. That's amazing then to get Iongi in that. Well done, mate. Selling high on Howe, who some might say, why would you do that? He's a brilliant player. Because you had Mooney and unfortunately, guys, the sewer suspension means that Couchman loses that immediate chance to get front row eligibility, which was the big gamble on Couchman. If you're playing or listening to me close enough each week or whenever I've been talking about it, Couchman was a really strong stash because he had this scope to be a 60-minute middle rotating front row eligible player to get you 55 plus. He doesn't have that, but it's all right. He's still going to get his points. And I think you still look at that Mooney flip to some degree. I I think, because he's just scoring these line break tries. When you look at Mooney's stats without them tries, he's not really doing enough. So I'd look at that. Great job getting Brown because you bought him low and he will be better. And the Iongi Edwards handshake, I won't say handcuff, but the handshake because of the origin sitch and how good Iongi can be. I love that for you. But captaincy, you got to, I don't know why you went back to KPP instead of May after a 90 something from May and then not back, or 100 something. I would be May all day, because in a 12 team league, May only needs to get you 70 to give you a sniff kind of thing. Like, because that gives you your anchored score, and then you want all your KPP, Murray, Toya, those blokes to hit their upside. So,
well, to be fair to him, this was an amazing high scoring round. He may have been trying to chase as well.
Fair. Yeah. He had the Edwards vice though, and then that didn't come to fruition.
Like if he was up against Latrell,
yeah,
I mean, he probably would have thought he had to have a swing, but
fair as.
But yeah, I totally agree. Terrell May just about every week is going to be a lock for that. But you got some nice VC options as well. Like
KC, mate, each week, bloody hell.
Casey Talangi,
Rob Toya on this run here, with Toya, I'd be VC. Right. Yeah, no, I like this team. I think the 2 wins show that there's something there. The draw is just bullshit. That's so unlucky, mate.
Yeah,
you've done well to trade. Sonny Luke, who cares? Just go jump on the next guy and see if you can finally land a hooker.
Yeah, that's it. I'm in the same boat with that too. Yeah. I actually did the biggest mistake of all time on the weekend too, and I still ended up beating Noble, which is he'll be still crying about that, but. I actually picked Little up as my flex when he got named to start, and I didn't realize until after lockout that he wasn't coming into play for me.
Yeah,
and my entire bench was Bradman Best, David Fafita, Jai Gray, and Casey McLean. So no points on my bench.
Played a man down.
I played a man down. Yeah. Thank God for Captain Teddy.
Yeah. Beautiful, mate. Very jealous of that one. Next game, Paul. Again, Paul, one of the best supporters I've had in the community. I always shout him out whenever I get a chance. Paul's a lovely bloke and supported me in a number of ways. So really appreciate you, Paul, on the Substack, liking posts on Instagram, all the little things Paul does. It does not go unnoticed. So, happily spend as much time as we can on this one. Paul's interesting. He said 3 to 4 ladder, like he's tracking all right. He has this really interesting feature, though, guys. Trade deadline at round 10 because they've had some bad experiences in the past. So, this is a cool one because he's obviously got a decent team. He's a great player. His opinions, I value his opinions in the Discord. He's one of the guys that always ping if I have a trade floating. Griff, I'll always, just for your insight, I ping Paul very often to just get his thoughts. He's a very measured thinker. So he's clearly a good operator. No captain VC, 10-team league, tracking decently but has a deadline. I want to know your thoughts when you read this and saw the team. What was your gut instinct on Paul's situation as a decent team, though, but may have a deadline coming up?
Well, first of all, I was just looking at that bench, just going, look at all that value. And, how can you do some upgrades here? But then I look at the team and I'm struggling to find it how it's 3 and 4. Like it's every single player in that team is somebody that I would own. That I would be happy to own as well. So, if Tino and Angus Crichton, obviously not doing what they should be doing. Karaz and even Sheck to a degree has been pretty disappointing. Teddy's been a little bit disappointing sometimes as well. Plaffa, as I said, is as good as a hooker you're going to get in the hooker position. Anyway, you still got Fafita to come back on anyway. So. And obviously you got Dylan Brown as cover for Jaden Campbell. You got Ponga as cover for Tedesco. With a trade deadline, obviously that's probably a little bit more important.
Yeah.
Me personally,
I
wouldn't waste it. I'd just go for it because the deadline comes if either one of Ponga or Teddy goes down, you're going to be happy. Oh well, I got one or the other.
Yeah.
But also, I feel like you got so much value just sitting on the bench.
Yep.
Unless if they still play auto emergency, like if they can still play an auto emergency, then I'm okay with it, right? Because
in finals he can drop bastards and just go
exactly right.
Yeah.
So like you can get rid of you can get rid of Plath, or you can get rid of Sheck or something like that. You know what I mean? But right now, probably hold until this trade deadline, and then, well, actually, you can't hold, can you? Because that's the whole point. It's a very risk adverse team. Don't get me wrong, but it's just whether or not. But in saying that, like, okay, I look at the rest of the team. Like, okay, Mulatalo is going to come back. That's a good stash. Dylan Brown is definitely a decent backup for Jaden Campbell.
He needs to have the Dylan Brown piece because Campbell's just a smaller bloke.
100%,
yeah,
100%. I do agree with that. But
yeah,
and then David Fafita, I mean, that's a luxury in this team.
Luxury. Yep. Yeah. Agreed.
So to me, it's the same sort of thing. Like, if you can move on Fafita and Ponga before the deadline,
yeah.
Yep.
My suggestion here,
obviously, you can go top of the pops here with Ponga, especially.
Yeah. What I'd be doing is a classic. Like I'd make it noisy to get what I want, which is you don't need Ponga and Teddy fundamentally. Like you just don't. Like if Teddy goes down, if you don't have Ponga, that's okay because to me it's easier just to say, well, had a crack. What will kill you is just Ponga week in, week out, trying to make that decision who to play if Ponga's healthy.
Exactly.
But Ponga has a gnarly hamstring strain as a guy who kicks in play, kicks at goal, runs explosively. I would be getting off that, and I would wait not up to round 10 because you need to be working on this pretty much now. It's round 8. I would just be looking for a Ponga for a decent backup. I don't care if it's Jai Gray and then the upgrade somewhere else. And I'd nearly do the same with Fafita, going, hey, man, I know he's off. I just want, and get yourself, not so much like a handcuff, but get yourself like a dual guy that will, as Tino goes to Origin, rotates in and out of form, get a guy that can go FRF. If Crichton goes to Origin, you can slot him down at 2RF if Tino's not there. You know what I mean? I'd be just looking at malleability out of this value, right? Even like if you wanted to go Angus Crichton and you got yourself like a lesser 2RF that had a better Origin period, like a name, if you went Angus Crichton for Fina Fuiaki, well, he actually might play Origin. That's a bad example. Noah Martin he should be a sell high, but he's now a buy lowish with the injury, with the suspension. He'll get a run, and then Huddy Young will go to Origin. Could you do a crazy thing like Crichton for Noah Martin? And don't do this, Paul, but just hear me out and use this logic in another way, because then you're getting a guy that's going to hammer Origin period value if you play those rounds. And you've got Fafita in theory to actually be the upgrade of that guy after that period ends. And then you could do that guy and Fafita for a more stalwart guy off the back end of Origin. I'd just be looking for malleability, dual flexibility guys. I'd be getting off Ponga for some sort of upgrade, a CT dub fullback dual. I don't know what that looks like. Am I crazy in saying Tom Chester? Ponga for Tom Chester plus, right? Big name guy for a guy that's emerging, has the dual. Maybe not the best example again, Paul, but you see my logic. You turn the high value name guy that has an injury history that will maintain soft tissue for Fafita and Ponga, in my opinion, got to go. So then I would be using that name quantity. Unfortunately, Fafita's not going to be back before your deadline, so you can't do my trick of week before, going, Fafita's back, give me this, let's go, let's get this deal happening, that pressure vibe. But I think you use their talent to get yourself dual guys. So no matter what happens for the rest of the season when you can't trade, you've got this dual malleability between fullback, CT dub, between front row, 2RF. Like, I don't know, like Fafita for Jack Williams. Who says no? Like,
well, I'm thinking Toby Couchman.
Perfect. Yeah. But would the owner offer 100 though? 5.5 weeks, 6 weeks for Fafita. I mean, you would, because you love chasing upside, but who knows what the league's like.
Well, my other thing is, like, I totally agree with everything you just said, and especially with Angus Crichton being the name that that can land you a bigger fish. I've got a little bit of a more worry about Siwa Wong, because I just feel like at any moment Siwa Wong could go back to the bench and Victor Radley gets put back on the edge, and then they go back to having Butcher or somebody like that back. I mean, don't get me wrong, a better case scenario for Wong owners would be that Wong actually went to lock and Radley went on the edge. But I don't know if that's how it will play out. But
good point. No, you're right. Maybe that's
Wong's somebody that, like, if I was worrying about a position, then I could get off it. But like, he is a harder sell. Like, if somebody come to me with Siwa Wong, I'm not really that excited about it. I'm not really thinking about it. I'd look at it and go, oh, wow, he's averaging 66, is he? Wow. You know what I mean? But I'm not thinking, he's not in my brain. I'm not thinking about him. So
Yeah, you're right.
whereas
Maybe.
if someone comes to me, Angus Crichton, he's averaging 55. Oh, I'll give you something for it.
Yeah.
So
I think Wong you can gamble on for probably the value you got him was probably waivers, if I'm honest. You probably
exactly,
got it. So
exactly.
just roll with him. It's the Fafita for the Couchman I like the idea more of, right? Where you get that the flexibility. Or what about Angus Crichton for Couchman? He can play both flop and change, and Fafita you can monitor.
Yeah,
But
that'd be
job security
perfect.
wise, at least Fafita's locked in, and Couchman did have injuries last year. He hasn't had them yet, but that does play in my mind as someone who's risk averse. I like to know a guy is a durable guy before I kind of overcommit. There's a lot of options here, and they need to be actioned in the next 2 weeks, basically, with week 8. Next week and a half, I'd be shopping hard Ponga to just get a combination of an upgrade somehow or a CTWFLB. I know it sounds crazy to say Chester. I can't think of someone in that mold that's a better situation.
Yeah, I'm just trying to have a look as well. But I mean, do you start to look at the coolers and the Mark
Yeah.
want to get
Cooler will get Jewel, will he? He's going to start 3 times.
He will get.
That's a no-brainer. But then the owner might be sitting there going, "Fuck yeah, Cooler's about to explode at fullback. Why would I take Ponga?" And it's just hard. But you've got to drop the name. So you've done a good job because that's a great target. Mark is game changer, but then there's a lot of Sydney. I wouldn't go there. I'd keep diversified because if
he does have a lot of Roosters there, but I'm just.
No, they're great names, mate. No, I don't touch Carraz though. Oh, you've already got Carraz, so
he's already got Carraz.
I would never chase that.
Yeah, but it's the same with like Valentine Holmes. Yeah, I mean, do you chase Valentine Holmes to come back?
That's not when I thought about that buy low and the drama around the club, like he'll
he's a buy low right now. He's probably not going to be any lower than what he is right now.
No, he's going to have a purple patch, mate, and he's going to deliver something for people with the goal kicking, the tackle breaking, and he's just not getting the ball from Atkinson, unfortunately. But I think we can move on. This is just a decent team. The record is tough, and there's been a few names might return a bit more value eventually, Crichton and Tino. So see how it goes. But yeah, just love what you've done here, mate, and good luck going forward. Get those conversations around Ponga first. For Feeder, you can weather. Ponga, you need to get something that can back up Teddy if things go south. Look at Teddy's buy schedule, use the Origin planner in the Oracle and just double check who plays when he doesn't, and maybe use that as your tipping point. Ponga for freaking KO Weeks was going to play heaps of Origin. That team's up and about. He's not great Weeks, but you could get something else in that package potentially. I'm just throwing names out there.
100%.
So, all right. Oh, he shared this too, which we kind of already know. He's got a good team, right?
That's right. I would have expected that, yes.
So. All right, last team, 52 minutes. We're tracking awesome, mate, for a 1 hour. This is good. Thanks, Griff. This is Michael's team, who's been having a lot of trouble.
Love the team name.
Yeah, I love the team name. That one's you can read that yourselves. This is unfortunate because I helped Michael through a trade to get David Fafita, and then he went down the week. Michael got him, so I'm sorry, Michael.
That's unlucky, though.
It's just who can control that sort of thing.
No, that's right.
And
it didn't even happen in game. It happened at training.
It's just BS, yeah. So, look, he's done well to have Kennedy for Iongi. Love that. You can make that work. I've recommended him like the McEwen hold because I see something with McEwen. It didn't happen on the weekend. They got flogged, but Dylan Brown historically has been good for his back rower. McEwen is a line runner. He had a line break try last week.
That's true. So, I think you're 100% spot on there because we haven't got to see it this year because Dylan's been out the whole time.
Exactly. We don't know and we saw it last year with McEwen, so we should see it this year. Whether he's struggling a little bit as maybe a left edge player with a right arm fend being forced to play on the right, I don't know. They've got that Manuelella guy now. He looked decent, and he might be holding that left so that you can't swap, and we don't know where Cant was going to play. So I still think McEwen's a hold. Maybe you start Wilton on matchups, but I mean McEwen's averaging more than Wilton, and he's still like 45 in a captain league with this full roster setup. That's it's fine. Turbo has a couple of good matchups. You can't really sell a Ben Travojevic. I can't say sell him high, but you just have to kind of roll with it and hope that it manifests. Garner, I thought would be better. I recommended Garner to a lot of people last week on the YouTube.
Oh, I grabbed him as well, mate. I
think you just fire him back up. He's just a guy.
I'm firing him back up this week.
You got to fire. He finds attack, mate.
Exactly.
Izzy Katoa back up to
There's
Brown.
1 million degrees up in Darwin, so
exactly. Yeah, Izzy Katoa as a backup to Brown or vice versa. That's fine. Brown will, in theory, be better for the run with his base line running. He went down with an MCL on track to score freaking 90 that week. He had, it was like 30 odd minutes and he had 66 points or something. He looked unreal. So I'd be just running Brown out there, or maybe Izzy on matchups. And if you play buys, Izzy's got a ripper schedule. He'll play has one buy on 13, it might be, and then he just plays all the rest. So just hammer in the Dolphin guy there. Team A, he's coming good. So just captain Team A, let Couchy cook.
Yeah.
Let either hold for feeder and play. You've got 2RF depth. You probably need the upside of Fafita to kind of sink in with a Team A and a Couchy. But I'm not going to argue with you if you did it Fafita a week before he returns 1 for 2 and you got some upgrades elsewhere, because the back line's pretty lean, Griff, in my opinion, mate. Like, he's running.
Well, I was just looking at that as well. I'm thinking that, I mean, obviously Meaney, he's goal kicking though. That's the only.
No, Meaney, I've got Meaney as a buy low, Griff.
Yeah.
I think like over the trend of the year, I think Meaney does enough.
I mean, it's just whether or not you think Alamotti's going to come back as well. Yeah, it's a tough one, isn't it? But like, anyway, what my train of thought was even just for something average is just getting rid of Wilton and Katoa together. I know they're only both averaging 50 at the moment, but even if they were packaged together into getting a CT dub or something like that, I don't know how many CT dubs would be worth that sort of range anyway. But I mean, Ruben Garrick's only averaging 57.
Yep. Like even it's hard to. Did Karapani have a good game? I'm literally blanking on him. I don't know, but like a guy like that might have a hot streak when it matters. You know what I mean? Like a guy that you never know. I think actually Michael, I think maybe had Karapani, and I think he had to drop him to get stuff happening. I actually feel bad. Sorry, Mike. I'm remembering now. You might have had. I'm just trying to think of these wingers that are gettable. But you probably shouldn't need to sell. You probably shouldn't get a winger like that with Katoa. He's probably more valuable to hold Katoa through Origin if you play them periods. Because
if you play those periods, then yes, 100%. 100%.
Hiroti will do a job, maybe try and stash Mulatalo. Hiroti will do a job on the wing this weekend. I like him there more on the wing than at centre. Trindle has the Sharks have a great Origin period. So having Kennedy, having Wilton, Hiroti, Trindle, that's great for you with Katoa. Like, you should be able to field a decent. I think Couchman has a decent Origin period. The Manly do too. Knights isn't too bad. Penrith is crap. Tigers is decent. So if you do play Origin, like buy rounds, this roster's decent. You might be able to claw back maybe some of where you're at with your 1 and 5. I think you are. And just captain Team A and just ride the wave. He's going to be decent. The average is up to 86. If you can't win with that average on your captain, then that's just real bad luck. But the CT dubs needs you need something there. Like, even Tupou hasn't kicked on. I had him ranked high. I'm sure a lot of people drafted Tupou off my rankings of him this year. I think I had him like top 15. He looked awesome last year. I thought their offense would be better. I thought he'd get a lot more ball. It just hasn't sort of come. It's been a whole case of the Sam Walkers, really. That whole edge just hasn't really done anything. But with Savala there, looking like a way more selfless player, high skill player. Tupou's a great hold in a deep league.
100%.
Yeah, Tupou's a great guy to just sit with in a team like this where you need a bit more out of your back line, mate. But not the worst team, just sounds like the worst luck. And the Fafita get was a totally sound grab, mate. And I think
100%.
Just manage that accordingly. If you're losing again the next 2 weeks, Fafita needs to go then. If you're winning,
what was the trade?
As a hold. Oh, dude, I'm going to pull it up because we've got time, because we're doing good. And I think anyone watching this at this point just enjoys Supercoach chat. So I will buy some time and I'll get you the trade. Get this right. So he went, been offered for Feeder and Tupou for Kaloa and Robson. Kaloa, Matangi and Robson. And I said, go for it. What do you reckon?
Was it Kaloa, Matangi and Robson?
And Robson, yeah.
No, I'm okay with that. Yeah,
Fafita and
that's
Tupou.
Fafita, man. You know my thoughts on Fafita. To me, Fafita, like, in my brain, he's number 1 2RF. But
and the Tupou I thought was a good throw in. Kaloa Matangi, he had Couchy and Team A. Yeah. Kaloa Matangi's trending in the wrong direction with knees and minutes and stuff, and wasn't hitting any upside. I think it was still a good deal because Fafita was healthy at that point, right?
Yeah.
Oh, 100%. He had no 2RF1.
Yeah.
Look at his 2RF. So I was like, man, I think you need to take that trade. I mean, it was Couchman, obviously, but prior, I'm like, so I still think it's a great deal. You'd nearly do the deal now. I know you nearly do that deal now.
No, I would, because Yeah, exactly right. Like Kalal Matangi is obviously managing the injury now, and
Yeah.
like to me, Reece Robson's as good as Max
Yeah.
Plaff at hooker. You
Yeah.
know, like okay, he's probably a tier above that, but it's not it's not big enough the gap in hooker for me to worry about a hooker.
I love
Um,
that you have that mindset. I think people need to hear that at times. It's good that the aggression you play with is good.
yeah, I'm the
And
same. I'm the same with front row forward as well. And
yeah,
to be honest, it's almost getting to that point with 5'8". The only reason that I haven't really got there with 5'8" yet is and look, this is just fine. Is I'm running Ezra Mam. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
that's awesome. Yeah,
But that's to me that's middling and that's fine. You know what I
yeah.
mean? But if
Oh,
I
I
was
don't
running
care about
anybody else,
5'8",
I'd be just like, you know what? Like I'd rather
bro.
just go without.
I haven't. I can't remember ever drafting a 5'8" that mattered every year. Last year was Jack Cole, and I ended up with Ezra Mam. Then I ended up with. I can't even remember who I won the thing with 5'8" because who cares? This year,
Yeah, to be
I
honest,
did.
I won last year too. I can't tell you who my 5'8" was.
Yeah, to this year though, I did spend up in every league for Blaze because I love him. I love watching Penrith run around because they're just sick. And so Blaze, I overpaid for, and I think unfortunately some people may have followed me into that one. But hey, like he's actually playing incredible footy. The kid, like
I offer, I
fair
offered
income.
I offered Ezra Mem for Blaze just before Mem actually had his best game,
Mm,
and I got a no. And then Blaze stunk it up for another 2 weeks, and
so
then I
you,
changed my mind
yeah,
and was like, "Nah, I'm not going to do that deal now." And then obviously
yeah,
he hits that 100 now, and I'm just like, I reckon I could have
yeah,
got that deal done.
yeah.
So, and
No,
because the guy was coming last and had not won a game this year.
you could still probably get the deal if Blaze goes
I
flat
could,
again.
but I'm just. I'm getting too many Panthers into my side as well.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. No,
Yeah,
that's
I've got
me every
Lindsay.
year. Yeah,
Yeah, well, I'm usually the same too, but
yeah,
I've got Lindsay Smith. Which don't get me wrong, Lindsay Smith could easily go for me. I've
yeah,
got Garner. He's going to go eventually
yeah,
as well. But I've got Casey McLean. Actually, you know what? I've only got Casey McLean really, so
yeah,
I could easily run that. But I did like the fact that I had a Bronco.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
and like an attacking
Yeah, yeah, yep. No,
one
that's
as
fine.
well. But
Yep.
I mean, I don't know if it really matters to be honest, unless
No,
you've got
no.
Reece Walsh.
No, I like your opinions on a few things tonight, but that does it, guys. That's the just team reviews and discussions. I think the way these things work and the way they should be received by you guys that have submitted or anyone listening is we may say 8 things, but and 7 of them may be useless in your league. We don't know all about what's available, how aggressive people trade. We don't know what the waivers look like. But focus on the one thing we do say that does offer you a bit of value or confidence or gives you some creative license. So, for
100%.
example, with Paul, where I mentioned some names along a line of thinking, it's the line of thinking that's more valuable than the name that I mentioned. Don't go and grab the exact name, but follow our process, do the research because, man, never say die in Supercoach. I've seen the craziest turnarounds in my own league. We have quite a controlled league where you kind of know who the big dogs are from week 5 onwards. And I've seen guys come from the bottom to the top in my league. So if it happens in mine, it happens in your guys' leagues where
Yeah,
people may not
100%.
be that diehard. So don't necessarily give up, but know also when it's going real south and go hard against it because at least you can say you tried. Nothing worse than just your team rusting and it gets to like week 15 and you're 4-11. Go hard, sell your names, and get goods that are going to take the paddock because you never know. Like you might get a KO weeks 90, 80, 95 in a row, and that's 3 wins. And all of a sudden you go, so everyone says you're an idiot for Kalen Ponga for KO weeks, but all of a sudden he was on the paddock and one wasn't. Like
Yeah.
just don't
No,
really
no.
develop
Like
in that way. Yeah,
the way I look at it as well is and this is like you know trying to get to obviously winning the title, right?
yeah,
So if you start hot, especially if you start hot,
yeah.
do not just sit on your team, right?
Oh yeah,
You have the biggest opportunity by starting hot,
yeah,
right? And especially if you're healthy, you
yeah,
know what I mean? So if you've got a full bench that's still and you're just plugging along, mate, this is the perfect time to be starting to get all those carcasses from all the guys down the bottom that are struggling with all those injured players that they can't afford to hold.
yeah.
You know what
And
I mean?
tell them
So
that.
and
Bloody tell them that.
I would have my whole bench with guys that are going to come back from injury if that's
Yeah,
what I had to do because I know for a fact that I'm going to get them for a lot lower price
yeah.
than what I would if they were healthy and if that team was doing well and I wasn't. So
I love that you
um,
say that, mate, because like I think people forget that dominating it's all it is an opportunity to continue dominating through a
That's
different
right.
means. It does
100%.
not sustain. I don't know if I've ever won without trading off a dominant position. And what I mean by that is like last year, I think I was like literally like 10-2 and I made more trades than anyone in the comp by the magnitude of 7, Griff. Because
Yeah,
every
that
week
makes sense.
I would just look at a guy I liked and I liked their next 5 weeks or their origin period or their finals.
Perfect.
And I go, hey, let's do this deal and make it so they win. And I just always be transparent, want them to win the deal on the day and I win the deal in the long run because
Yeah.
I'm winning. If I'm not winning, maybe I don't necessarily think so long ahead, but you have the same attitude.
No, you have to have the opposite, to be honest.
Yeah.
That's when you got to start looking at shorter like opponent matchups coming up as well.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I remember, I think it was in our second season, we were in an 8-man league, but for some stupid reason, we still had it as a top 8, right?
Yeah.
So everybody made the finals anyway.
Yeah.
But there was a thing that if you come last, but you actually got like whoever was the lowest ranked and got knocked out in the first round of the finals or whatever, they were the sacco, and I was last by a long shot, and I couldn't figure it out because I won the year before, and then I was just like, what have I done? So all I did eventually was just like, you know what, I've just got to prepare for the finals.
Yeah.
Because that's all that matters now. So I literally just looked at all the finals matchups.
Yeah.
And I end up making the grand final from last. I literally had six wins that year.
That's so sick. Yeah,
but because of the matchup. So whenever we talk about matchups, they really do matter. But
they do, mate. And that's a big thing.
You have to think shorter term, though. If you are down the bottom, you have to think shorter term.
You just got to look at the next 4 games for a guy and take a loss on name and just get the guy and then sell that guy high. It's not, if you do have a trading environment, some people don't, and I sympathize with them. That's very boring and unfortunate. Different game then. But if you do have a trading environment, you don't know who you could get in 3 weeks off a hot run of a guy that has mediocre name value. Sure. Like you sell CY Wong. After 2 weeks does really well, you might be able to get that minor upgrade. Then he goes good for 3 weeks, get that minor upgrade. So there's a lot of ways to skin the cat. Just as a bit of a bonus, I just want to share my team with you, mate, because I think you've touched on a few things I'd like your thoughts on, which is over here. So on that, like people would look at me and I'm I think 5-2, which I probably shouldn't be, but I'm 5-2 regardless. My bench. Injured Max King. I'll just bring up this little thing. Yeah. Injured Max King. Suspended Sewer. Injured Fafita. Just come back Brown. This guy I have to trade out to play a guy here. And then injured Iongi. So for me, like my first instinct is, okay, I've got a little bit going on in the injury front. But what you're saying is, this is brilliant. If you're in the situation to win, copying a loss or two over the next month to keep these guys is worth it than necessarily winning. Like, what's your take on a 100%. Team like this?
Yeah, no, 100%. It's exactly that. Yeah. Like I'd be happy to stash those guys and wait for them to come back from injury if like everything's going okay at least in your league. You know what I mean? Like if you're even mid to top, like that's fine. If you are struggling and you do need the wins, then it does flip the script. But yeah, like. There's 100% there. Like there's a lot of depth there. Like I just look at 6 bench spots and just go, oh wow, how good would that be? Being able to stash 6 of them.
we do play that. Like we do play that style, and it has pros and cons because everyone gets 6. So people look at it and go, oh, that's easy. You've got 6.
Well, we did 5 one year.
Yeah,
but then like I loved it obviously because I'd love to be stashing Cade Reed. And things like that. I'd love to have been able to stash those guys, but unfortunately, we went back to a 4-man bench, which is fair enough.
Horses for courses, but what I wanted to say was like people look at it and go, "Oh, that's so easy," like lucky you. It's like, well, everyone else has 6, mate. So is it that?
No, that's it.
Like it's like
100%.
And my logic around it, which we've spoken about, is just with auction draft. I like the guys to be able to. I'd never want to feel like I've got to drop a guy I auctioned for, unless I choose to. I don't want to be forced with like the investment we put in on the day type of thing, like the energy and the effort. So that's all. So the reason I showed you that is like, I think like you're someone that, and this is a great topic just to finish on, is like I hate losing the weekend, right? I just feel shitty about it, and everyone does, but. You strike me as someone who's willing to swallow a loss and it doesn't like ruin your mood because you're playing a bigger game. Like, just tell me about the psychology
100%.
on, like Friday night, you kind of sometimes know If
Oh
it,
yeah.
Friday,
Don't get me wrong. I do feel it, like exactly what you're saying as well. But like, yeah, I know exactly where you're going with it. Like, yeah, Thursday or Friday night, you can almost already know if you've won or lost. And if that does happen, where it's just like, well, everything's against you, or you've already played like 8 players and they've just done nothing, which happened to me at the start when all those bloody Raiders and Bulldogs game in the wet and all that sort of stuff, and I had heaps of Bulldogs players and whatnot, and you felt like your team was already done. Yeah, I guess the psychology of it is you just got to move on. You know what I mean? So really, yeah.
Do you still sit there and watch the rest of the games of the weekend if you're getting your ass
No,
kicked?
I definitely check out a lot more, but like I'll still watch it just because I'm just a rugby league fiend. But but I'll be on my phone while watching it, if you know what I mean.
I know what you mean. Yeah, mate. No, it's good. No, it's fine. It's fine. There's no right or wrong, because the reason is like something I need to work on this season, as I don't quite have those Latrells, the Suafa'alongos in my team. I do have Nico, so I sound like I'm whinging, but like I gave up a lot to get him before the season kicked off and got lucky in that degree and whatever. And so I think I view my team probably worse than it is. But I just see some of these guys getting around with these, the KPPs so far, a few of these other names. And I think, I've got to like make a move this week because I got all these injuries, and it's like, but I think people can learn from just kind of playing the longer game a little bit and going, as long as you're not in the negative win-loss, it's fine to lose if it means you keep David Fafita from Mount Lions.
Yeah, definitely.
Keep Max King. He's coming back in 3 weeks. Just hold tight. Then or shift him when he's coming back. So look, we've gone a bit over now, which is totally fine. I don't care. This is a great chat. I love the yarn. But is there any parting thoughts on the rest of the season? I think we'll get together. We should do a buy low, sell high. Maybe that next week or the week after, where I'll drop the article and you just query it and add to it, because I think there's a lot more we could touch on that we don't need to cover in this episode.
Yeah, well, it's starting to get to that stage again. Like I said to you before, that I read your buy low a couple of weeks ago, and it's just like I would have had nothing to add to that. But I think as the season progresses, it definitely becomes a bit more relevant, and especially with people starting to realize where their team is actually sitting. So if people do listen to it that don't have Draft Oracle, I think you should get it, because it does give you a good picture of,
I appreciate
where you're at.
I did forget to ask. Tell me, or tell the audience, like what you think of Draft Oracle as someone who's played Draft. Well, you've probably played for 12. Have you probably played Supercoach Draft for 12 years?
Yeah, I've played ever since Draft came out, which was 2013.
So what's that? Put it 6 plus, so 13 plus years basically.
Yeah, pretty much.
You and Noble and the lads. So
yes.
What's Draft Oracle to you as a veteran who like loves the stats, loves the game?
Oh, mate, it's it's stuff for nerds, but I'm a nerd, so I love it. It's so. I think when you added the league map, that was definitely what I needed to be looking at, and especially with the buy lows and sell highs just in like key indicators, like fantastic. You know what I mean? So, it's only obviously going to get better and better with the information that's put into it as well. It can't be perfect straight off the bat. I understand all that. You know what I mean? Because it's it can only deal with the data it's got. You know what I mean? But I'm assuming that over seasons and seasons and seasons, it's going to just get better and better. So
it is,
but it's I do it every Monday. I like enter in the round and all that sort of stuff. And some of the tables that you've implemented, like I would never have thought of any of those sort of things. You know what I mean? But I love seeing them and whatnot. Just gives you a picture. You know what I mean? It gives you something.
Yeah, no, it's not a perfect thing, but it does. Of course. Sorry, carry on.
Yeah, because obviously we do NFL draft in the off season as well, right? So there was a not similar to Draft Oracle, but like they've got their own sort of
they've got stuff. Yeah.
So where you can plug in your team as well and whatnot. And I've always been interested in that sort of stuff as well. So analytically, like that's what I would have liked to eventually got to as well. But you've just nailed it straight off the bat here. Like to me, even the little changes that I keep annoying you with, you've implemented them straight away, and they work brilliantly. Like even the swap now in the league map that I'm looking at is perfect. But mate, it's a credit to you, because it runs really smooth. Like there's, as I said, we've had a couple of little bugs in that, but that's
of course.
exactly what they are. You know what I mean?
It's
They're
all
bugs.
good. It's a
But
one-man show. There's going to be bugs, and I'm open to it. As you know, if you tell me stuff, I love it. The more the
I just
merrier.
I love the upgrade that you've done to the roster workshop as well.
Oh, thanks, mate. Yeah,
I
it's
think
really fun. Yeah.
visually it looks bloody
Oh, I
clean, mate.
just really
It
wanted to
looks nice.
celebrate what we love. Like, there's nowhere in the bloody game where you know your best player's your best player. Like, how cool is that
True.
feeling? You go, that's my boy,
100%.
dude. You
Yeah,
know, and like
100%.
there's other things in there where Casey was on a hot streak last week. He had the blue flame. I don't know if you saw it.
I
But like,
did
yeah,
see
and
that.
it's like I just wanted people like us that love to look at our teams and manage stuff. I wanted us to have more fun with our game that we put the time into, because the actual Supercoach app, one, the stats are half wrong if you ever play for gold, which I've never done. But my mate screenshot it to me and he said,
No, I've got gold and it's bad.
yeah, so like that, and then it's just a white paper with names on it. I wanted like pictures, I wanted interactivity. There's more to come. I'm trying to find the balance now, probably between not going crazy on releasing new stuff and just planning for the future of like what it is, because there's a lot to come in the off season and the next season. You're right about it getting better as we go. But it's just the reason I let you speak about it is because I do it for you. You know what I mean? Like I've done, and me obviously, like the first point.
Yeah, 100%.
It's everything I've done now is now usable by the community, but a lot of people, they don't get a platform to tell me how much they like it, or it's just not in people's natures. So I know that you've got the confidence to actually say that you appreciate something and like it. And I wanted people to hear it who haven't used it, or people that do use it, hearing someone else talk about it. Because I can say how much I like it till the cows come home, but maybe a different opinion is nice. And obviously I love hearing the positive feedback because it gives me motivation. Because when people raise issues, I'm trying to jump on it as quick as I can and work through the bugs. And there will be bugs, but yeah, it's just a second home for our draft.
Exactly right. It is a second home for it. So, like as I say, you've probably got a million ideas that you want to do. Like to me, I'm already excited for the preseason one of it.
Yeah, it's gonna be
that's what I mean.
That's gonna kill me, man. I'm gonna be
breaking
my back. Yeah, it's gonna be cool. I've got some major thoughts and ideas, but a lot of stuff that people don't see is like the back end, how complex. So like when I'm spending a week having to allocate my time between work, my life, my hobbies, all that, and now this draft oracle, I've also got the database side, which generates the reports and generates all this. And so I'm waking up at 3 a.m. going, fuck, I've got to do that, because then that'll mean I can do that. And it's just been like a crazy journey. But I just want to finish on talking about Draft Oracle, because if I was like, it's something I'd never thought would exist for Supercoach, because you can't get the data, right? As you've spoken about. And like, you see it in NBA, you see it in NFL and all this. I'm just like, our little hobby will never have it. And then for me to have created it, I just think back to when I was living in Melbourne and I had nothing. Like I was doing a project down there, so I had no mates down there. I had nothing down there, and like I'd put your guys' podcast on the drive to work. It was the best hour of my week was listening to you guys chat about draft, because it was my escape. And now I've created like a home for people like us to kind of go in and edit our teams and look at it and get a different feeling and strategize and buy low. And even the origin planner, I just pushed a tweak for tonight, where like you can now put in guys as an idea to have and see what their schedule is and make sure that that trade or that waiver swap has the right impact on your origin. Things like that, mate. That takes brain power you don't have to use now. Like I was going, well, if I trade Dylan Brown for Izzy Katoa, how many more origin games do I get? And I checked it and I'm like, oh, Nico plays them anyway. I don't need Izzy Katoa. Done. Dude. You know, you would have to that spreadsheet, fucking this, that, and the other. Now it's just you press a button, mate, and Oracle sort of does it for you. So anyway, enough about that. Thanks so much, mate, for making time. I really hope this isn't the last time we do this. If this Substack recording thing works, then we can kind of really rip into it, and it's going to be pretty easy just to invite you in. So thanks for your time. Thanks for prepping the analysis, Griff, because I know like you put a bit of time into that. So yeah, and
thank you too, mate, because I know you've done a lot of work in the background here as well. So appreciate that too.
Awesome, mate. Well, I won't be far away from messaging you on Twitter this week going, what trade should I do? You know, what should I do? I love that we spoke last week, mate. That was sick. I love chatting to you about the trade ideas. Feel free to message me too.
Oh, man, I was just like, wow, I can't believe you got offered this.
Yeah, well, I was actually gunning it and then got offered the other one, and I was like,
and
then I was like upgrading it, going, mate, we'll throw in Euro 3 Lehigh, which was a mistake. But I just try and make the guys feel like it's a fair trade, and then they're happy to come to the table, kind of thing.
That's it.
And 100%. He was 1 and 5, mate. He didn't have a choice. He can't hold King and Fafita, mate. He couldn't even hold
Nah.
Eero for the bye, mate. He needed a win, and he got one. Now he'll trade again in 5 weeks because he's like, oh, you're all right, you know?
Yeah, for
You know
sure.
what I mean? Yeah.
100%.
All right, better let you go. An hour and 20
Too
minutes.
easy,
Thanks,
mate.
everyone, for listening. That was awesome. See you, Griff.
See you, mate.
Cheers, mate. Bye.
Bye.